All right, campers, we have our mission number 10, and we're going to start off. This is actually going to be one of our tougher workouts yet, but we're going to start off with double dumbbell clean. So what we want to make sure that's happening in your double dumbbell clean is that we explode, and it's going to be just like a suitcase squat. We're going to start our feet a little bit wider than our shoulders. Don't go too wide, but don't go too narrow, so you can have a good center of gravity. So we'll pick up the dumbbells off the floor. Remember, in our squats, butt's out, chest is out, and we keep our knees right over our ankles. When we do this, we're going to explode up. Make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders too much, okay? But we shrug the shoulders, and then bring the weights up to our shoulder height. Now, the big thing is to get underneath the weight. To get underneath the weight when we get to the top. So we're not standing up and then staying, okay? We're not standing up then squatting. We're standing up so we can try to catch the weight underneath with our squat. So we'll be here, all right? And make sure you get all the way to the top with your squat. So we come all the way up, and we explode. It's a continuous movement, never stopping at the top, and you don't stop till you get back down to the bottom. All right. So guys, most of you guys are probably going to do this with 30s or 35s, but make sure it's not too light, but make sure it's not too heavy. Again, the bottom of the squat, we need to make sure that we stop and we keep our knees over ankle, chest out, butt out with that S curve. All right. I'm going to show you a couple from the front, show you a couple from the side, and so when we do the workout, for you trainers, you folks that are training with us, we're going to do 10. So here's our first. Anytime we do our squats or our cleans, I like to make sure again that I'm lined up. My weights are going to be off to the side of me, just like a suitcase squat. I like to get down, grab the weight, and then get myself pivoted with my nose forward. I'm going to breathe all the way up and exhale out. Breathe in. And then I'll stand back up. All right. Again, we're going to touch the floor. Touch the floor. Make sure the hips get all the way up. And let me show you from the side. We touch the floor. Our hips and shrug up. When we get to here, make sure you get the squat in. Touch the floor. And at the top, after you get to here, make sure you stand up before you drop back down. And that's our dumbbell power clean. All right, our next mission in mission 10 is a cross cable concentrated bicep curl. So what we're going to do is, again, with our cross cable or cable machine, make sure you got it locked out. For you ladies, you might not go all the way to the top. Guys, most of you guys are going to go all the way to the top. We're going to take one of the short cables. Make sure you have the short cable and not the long ones. They do have the longer cables, but make sure you have the short cable. Then we're going to extend the arm, pull all the way across to the other bar. Now, what I want to have happen is you tilt it over, okay? You should be at a small angle. When we bring this in, we're going to squeeze so the top of our biceps is really poking out, okay? Extend all the way out. Breathe in, and then exhale as you contract. You'll pop out 10 on that side, and we'll go to the other side. And that's our concentrated cable bicep curl. All right, our next movement in mission 10 is our Renegade Tricep Kickback. And that comes out of the plank position. So when we come into the plank position, we want to do something called hollowing out. So we want to really hollow out our core. When we're in a plank position and we're on the ground, we don't want our hips to sag forward, and we don't want our butt too high. especially for the tricep kickback, we want to definitely try to keep our hips parallel to the floor, our shoulders parallel to the floor. So again, for this movement, don't go too heavy, but don't go too light. You want a weight that you can always control. So I'm going to show you from the front and from the side. And when we grab the weights, again, just like in the other movements that we use the dumbbells on, we do not want our wrist cocked, okay? This is a cocked wrist, and that's where you folks with maybe a tendonitis or the carpal tunnel or anything that's going on with the hands or wrists or elbows, you want to make sure that you get that wrist from being cocked, okay, and turn into punching the floor. So it should look like you're punching the floor when you're on top of the weights. We're going to start the weights about shoulder width apart. Make sure our shoulders are not sagging, our hips are not sagging, our shoulders should be shut down, and our hips should be tight. The wider you go, the more stability you'll have, but don't go too wide. What we're going to do is pull the weight up and do a tricep kickback. Again, make sure you do your best to keep your shoulders and your hips, parallel to the floor. Let me show you from the side. Now, the other thing I want you to make sure that's happening is that your neck is not sagging and you're not looking out that way. Okay, we want to keep your neck neutral and make sure that you have everything going on straight down into the floor. All right? Folks, that's a Renegade tricep kickback. All right, our next movement in Mission 10 is our cable lumberjack. So what's going to happen with our cable lumberjacks? We're twisting through the core and we're extending through the triceps. So we just did the Renegade tricep kickbacks. We're going into the cross cable or the cable lumberjack. So what I want you to do is, again, make sure that you have a weight that you can control, but it's not too light. But again, it should not be too heavy. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down, lunge position. Okay, my lunge should face straight forward. When I do the cable jack, I'm going to turn and then I'm going to stand. Now, when you go in between the bars, okay, don't stand right in between the bars. Make sure you take a step over. So the bar should be slightly, it's on my left right now. So you take this step into the lunge, and now the cable's kind of on the side of us. Now, we're twisting and pulling through. The big thing with the cable lumberjack is to make sure that you're turning through and extending at the same time, and then contracting the arms back in at the same time. So you're going to try to do 10 on each side with the workout that we're doing. So again, when I line myself up, this side of the bar is on the right, so I'm standing slightly to the right of the bar. Take that step out, turn sideways, and I step out into my lunge, and I swing just like an axe. And that's our cable lumberjacks. All right, our next movement in Mission 10, and yes, Mission 10 has been a long one. Our next mission is our cable knees, or our cable power knees. So just like you kind of go into the Group X classes, we're here, and what I want you to picture is grabbing someone's head, pulling their head to your knee, and pulling your knee to their head. So everything should be lined up with the cable, and we're trying to get at least to belly button height. Okay, some of you are going to get up here, some of you are only going to get to belly button height, and this is not only for the abs, it's not only to build the cardio a little bit, but we're trying to get the lats and some of the rhombo. So, as always, with the movements that we're doing, make sure you're not going too heavy, but don't go too light. You should have a weight that you can control, and we're going to do 10 on each side for what we're doing right now. Alright, so see how I grab the cable? I grab the cable from the opposite side, so both the heads come toward me, and we're going to go square up to the cable, right there. Alright, let's do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Make sure you remember those because they're going to come back up a little bit later. That's our cable, power knees. All right, mission 10, here we go. We're still going. Our mission 10, make sure that you really are going for efficacy before you go for efficiency. Make sure, again, you always have control of what you're doing, and make sure that you're formed before your speed comes first. Our next thing is called a push-up jack. So our push-up jack, we're going to keep our hands stable or static, and we're going to make our legs move out and in as we go up and down. Now, I'm going to pop out a couple for you just so you can see how they go, and maybe try a couple before you do it so you can get the coordination down with the movement. Big thing with all push-ups, what matters most is getting all the way to the top, okay, and locking out rather than your depth down. Your depth down will come as soon as you get the range of motion and flexibility through your chest and biceps and triceps. And then the lockout at the top is the most important. So again, range of motion will come. Don't worry about where you get down to, just matters that you get back to the top. All right, push-up jack. So I always start with my push-ups, especially shoulder width apart. Some of you are going to go wide and definitely come out this way. I want you to do your best to come elbows down to your knee or elbows down to your ribs and get into a more of a military push-up. So let me show you from the side what I'm looking for. Okay? And let me show you from the front. And let's pop out a 10 second. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our push-up jack. All right, folks, mission 10. I know, it's still going on. It's a long mission. Our next movement, reverse burpee to power knee. So this one, again, make sure you got control of the weights. The weights should never slam. Always get the highest hold that you can on your cable machine, and you definitely need the rope. Okay, don't try to do this with either of the bars. So, as we're always talking about in this mission, a weight you can control, but a weight that's not too light or too easy. So remember our reverse burpee from, I believe it was mission 2. We are going to stand right underneath the cable. I want you to take 2 good steps back. Step back and step back. So now, we've got to lean back a little bit to keep this weight from pulling us back straight. When we do the reverse burpee, we keep our arms straight. We sit down first. When we get down, our arms should be still straight, and we pull down the straight. Okay, so we pull down the straight. At the bottom, we get our legs straight, and then we come all the way back up. Okay, when we come back up, I want you to get to a standing position. Now, here's the fun part. We come knee, knee. This movement again, is not about how fast you can do it, it's how big of range of motion you can get. And the knee, we want to make sure that we're standing up on it, and we lead with the hip. Okay? So when we come up, we knee, knee. And you do need to pull the bar, or you need to pull the rope, pull the cable toward you. And I would love for you to get the cable almost to your chest. Okay? So let me do a couple for you. And keep up. That's a reverse burpee. It's a power knee. All right, folks. Mission 10, finally our final movement. Our final movement is called toes to bar, and I'm going to give you the 3 levels of it. We're going to go knees to belly button, or knees to chest, or actual toes to bar. So when we do our toes to bar, or when we do any bar movement that we're hanging from it, we're really looking for you to be hollowed out. And let me show you hollowed out from the side. So when we're hollowed out, we're here. Okay, this is hollowed out. This is just hanging. We want to be hollow. Okay, so definitely engage your abs when you're hanging from the bar, and then don't let your body sink into it. Roll your shoulders into your shoulder girdle, and then make sure that you got yourself strong. Ladies, we're going to give you your modified version. Fellas, we're going to give you your modified version. Typically, our guys can hang a little bit better than our ladies can, but listen, guys, the ladies are doing these and they're coming up really quick, so make sure that you don't cheat yourself. All right, so our first movement, our first level, we're going to go knees to belly button. On all of these, you have to get back to the straight position. All right, so we're going to go knees to elbows, or knees to belly button. Level 2, we're going to go knees to chest. And those are our first 2 levels. So again, what we're looking for is control, not how fast you can do it, not how many you can do in a minute, not how many you can do in 30 seconds. We're looking for control, and so you're not swinging and moving around the bar. All right? So here's the actual toes to bar. And what I would actually love for everybody to do is to make sure that you at least try toes to bar to see where you can go, okay? Make sure you got a good grip. And let's pop out 10 of them. And that's toes to bar.